Hey, what is going on, guys? You got Tone here, bringing you week number 2 of season 3 of the NPL Minors. This time we are up against AshtonAkai, coach of the AS Rowlets. So, to take a look at his team is 12 Pokemon at the bottom. My team, of course, the 12 Pokemon on the top. And you can see right away by looking at his team, he has a very, very good mix of both offensive and defensive mons. A good balance of speed, bulk, and wall breaking potential. Starting with, of course, the Fairy Dragon Steel Core of Skarmory, Garchomp, Sylveon. Arcanine can take on my Zardex pretty decently. Has that Shaman, which can be a multitude of things. Jolteon can be an issue. Gengar can be a bit of a problem too. Zoroark, somewhat. Machamp, kind of the same realm. Mesprit, probably like a support set. Mega Blastoise, pretty much one of the scariest mons on his team because my switch-ins to Mega Blastoise are not that good. And the Regirock he has as a way to deal with my Crobat. So, again, I want to give a shout out to Techno Strike for helping me out with my team for this matchup. We felt as though it was still a winnable matchup, even though it wasn't really looking like it was in my favor, mainly because of what I have and what he has totally counteracts each other. By that I mean, the thing that really scares me about his team in comparison to mine is the fact that for one, my hazard removal is only Crobat and Lumineon, and they both lose. Crobat can't break past Skarmory without Heat Wave. It can't touch Regirock. It can only U-turn out. You get Nasty Plot Giga Drain's a thing, but he could invest. So I sadly wanted to bring Crobat, but unfortunately I couldn't. It didn't really fit what I wanted to bring. And the other thing to know is the fact that my hazard removal is very, very weak in this matchup. So at first when I saw his team, I'm thinking, oh crap, he has a very strong chance of bringing Hatch Attack against me, because my Crobat has to defog away the hazards, which gets him a free turn to come in and do whatever he wants, set them back up again. And my Lumineon loses to Shaman, it loses to Jolteon, a multitude of stuff, and it has crap recovery, so lack of recovery, so there's that also to consider. So my only way of breaking past his team was to have some good combination of bulk to take hits, even if he does bring Spike Stack, and the ability to hit back hard, because I know I won't get that many opportunities, especially if he does bring Spike Stack. I am expecting, for the most part, the Garchomp to come. I'm expecting the Shaman, because it does reliably act as a check to my Manaphy. Mega Blastoise I do see coming. Some combination of Skarmory as a spike setter, and either Regirock or Mesprit as the stealth rocker. Those are the only other hazard removers on his team. Because of the multitude of ways he gets hazards, I really feel as though he's going to bring like a Scarf Garchomp, because of the multitude of ways he has to get up hazards on his side of the field. It could be Stealth Rock Mesprit, Stealth Rock Regirock, Stealth Rock plus Spikes. Skarmory is like a suicide lead, potentially. But we ran through a lot of stuff, potential stuff he could bring. So my prediction at least was Skarmory, Garchomp, Shaman, Mega Blastoise, Sylveon, and either Mesprit or Regirock. I know he has whichever one he feels as though is going to check. He could bring two ways of dealing with Crobat, but as you see with my team builder, you can't see the Manaphy behind the logo, but it's Manaphy, not Crobat. So I'm just going to run out the team really, really quick. Well, not quick, but try to be as detailed as possible. So the first Pokemon you see here, we have Evergreen Arcelebi with Nasty Plot, Psychic, Giga Drain, HP Flyer. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. I did have Dazzling Gleam, but if I get up a Nasty Plot boost and I can live like a Dragon Claw from a Garchomp, +2 Psychic or +2 Giga Drain, is close. It's a 2 KO, yes. Depending on his investment, if it's like a naive mixed spread, it could possibly knock him out. I'm not entirely sure. It all depends on his HP, investment, and all that sort of stuff. The speed on Celebi lets me outspeed an Adamant max speed. Arcanine, max special attack, 144 in HP, just to give some provided bulk to take those hits a little bit better. So that's Celebi. Next up, we have Moses the Conkeldurr. Pretty much the same set as last week's Conkeldurr set. The only difference is I have Thunder Punch over Mach Punch. And it sucks because I really wanted the priority, but at the same time I wanted the added coverage, so I had to compensate somewhere, and I wanted to keep Drain Punch. Knockoff lets me hit the Gengar, remove items and whatnot. Poison Jab, 2 KO Sylveon on the Switch. Thunder Punch can catch the Skarmory on the Switch. Investment, very straightforward. Max attack, max special defense, take hits from most of the special attackers. If he brings Skull Mega Blastoise, he burns my Conkeldurr, it's screwed. That's all I can say. Even with a Sheer Force boost, it won't make up for the burn damage because I am not Guts, I am Sheer Force. To make up for the added power, I need to hit that Skarmory as hard as possible to weaken it for my other Pokemon. Speaking of my other Pokemon, number 3, we have the Mega Charizard X here, running a very unique set here. So, Techno and myself were going over Megazard X, and we were like, okay, we were thinking like, okay, if I bring bulky Dragon Dance Zard with like Will-O-Wisp, I could be Regirock, but at the same time, I can't be anything else because it's Fire Resist. He has a multitude of Fire Resist between Garchomp, between Mega Blastoise, and whatnot. And the main thing, I was coming back to the fact that if I was like running a offensive DD3 attack set with like Outrage, he goes into Skarmory, he gets the Outrage, I go for Outrage, and he goes for Counter. Because I have a feeling that he would bring Counter Skarmory just to counteract a Dragon Dance Zard X or most of my physical mons, because my team is mostly physically offensive. So I figured I'd take advantage of that. We take advantage of that and hit it on the special side, because I know it's going to be invested mostly physically defensive to deal with, like on Conkeldurr, my Tyranitar, my Piloswine, etc. So we decided with Roost 3 attacks with Flamethrower, Dragon Pulse, and Iron Tail. Flamethrower hits the Skarmory on the special side, like I said. Dragon Pulse for good overall stab coverage. Also is my best way of hitting the Arcanine if he does bring it. And this does do a decent job of dealing with non-toxic variants of Arcanine, as I can potentially force him the Morning Sun, and he's limited in. I can force him the Morning Sun more often than I can put him in a very awkward position, because his Dragon Resist is Sylveon, and I have Iron Tail for Sylveon. Even though I am Modest Nature, Iron Tail 2 KOs even a fully physically defensive Sylveon, which is very, very nice. It does about 50 to 57% even with a Modest Nature, so that is nice. The speed on my Charizard lets me outspeed a modest max speed Mesprit and everything below that, and the rest is added into HP so I can take hits a lot better. So, which does suck because on my team, this is basically my main Sylveon switching. If he brings like a Specs Sylveon, I am in a lot of trouble, because and if he brings Sylveon and then Hazard Stack, I'm in a load of trouble, because I have no definite switch-ins. He can preserve it. Actually, the combinations of Hazard Stack plus stuff like Specs Sylveon, Mega Blastoise, and Garchomp can really run through my team, so I have to be very, very careful how I play. So that is Mega Charizard X here. Number 4, we have Rampage, our Tyranitar. Choice Scarf once again. Hopefully this time we can hit a Stone Edge, but that's besides the point this week. Stone Edge Pursuit for that Gengar. Fire Blast hits the Skarmory and the Shaman. Ice Beam also hits the Shaman. Also lets me deal with non-Scarf Garchomp in the most part. Speed lets me outspeed Gengar, as it's the fastest Pokemon my Tyranitar can outspeed with a Choice Scarf. I do not come even close to Jolteon, so figured I outspeed the next fastest thing on his team, which is that Gengar. I can Pursuit Trap it if he's non-focus blast variant. And if he goes on the Skarmory on the T-Tar, I can predict it and go for Fire Blast, whatever the case may be. So that's pretty much straightforward about Tyranitar. Nothing really fancy about this. Just try to come in and break things down, try to outspeed some stuff. Nothing too out of particular. So moving on to number 5, now we have Aquafina the Manaphy coming back. Picked up 5 kills in our week 1 match, but trying to get back some of that momentum, trying to keep that momentum going against the AS Rowlets. We have Tail Go 3 attacks again. This time we are rocking the ICMZ to go along with Ice Beam, Surf, and Energy Ball again. So no HP Fire, don't really need it. Simple max attack, max special attack, max speed. I need to at least speed tie with a non-Scarf Shaman. If I can win the speed tie, go for a I'll go for a Sub-Zero Slammer, potentially knock out Shaman depending on his investment. I believe it kills non-Yachi variants, so I have to scout for the Yachi Berry on the Shaman, but I can potentially wear it down if it's not like Synthesis or whatnot. So that's Manaphy in a nutshell. And last but not least is Piloswine back again for another week. I said last week I would try to look for another optimal spread for Piloswine. Well, this is as optimal as you're going to get with this spread, at least for this week. It's the same exact moveset. The 4 points actually mean something this time around. The 4 speed lets me avoid speed tying with uninvested Regirock, and the 4 special defense allow me to take a Life Orb Gengar Focus Blast from full HP. It does 84 and 99%. I can retaliate with an Earthquake. So nothing really else to say about Piloswine. It's basically here just to prevent his Jolteon from coming in and freely spamming Volt Switch all over my team. So that is the team I am bringing against the AS Rowlets and Ashton. So I'm just going to hop over into the battle. So we'll be right back. So we are here with week 2 of the NPL Minors versus AshtonAkai and the AS Rowlets. Now looking at the team he brought, I did expect most of the stuff that I did expect most of his mons here. I expected the Garchomp, I expected the Mega Blastoise and the Sylveon. The Skarmory, either the Skarmory or the Regirock was a definite bring. Zoroark kind of threw me off a little bit, but it was nothing I was 100% worried about. But considering that Zoroark can disguise itself as any Pokemon on the side of the field, I had to be worried about what Zoroark is disguised as and whatnot. And this was also a sort of similar team I did at least one mock battle with. The main difference between the mock battle and this, I believe, yeah, he brought a friend of mine. He didn't bring Zoroark. He brought Sylveon instead, which I kind of had to play around a lot because Sylveon was just freely spamming Hyper Voice against my team, and he got up, I think, like all 3 layers of Spikes and Stealth Rock, and I kind of lost pretty bad. So I had to adjust my strategy this time around for that. And the main thing was, I didn't bring hazard removal, so he's free to get up his rocks, get up his spikes. Seeing that he has Skarmory plus Mesprit or Garchomp, but I'm already assuming from team matchup he has Scarf Garchomp because he has 2 potential Stealth Rockers on his side of the field. Scarf Garchomp would make a lot of sense to handle a +1 Mega Charizard X. Mesprit probably would be the Stealth Rocker, and Spikes would be on the Skarmory. I don't know what the rest of his team is. I'm assuming like a tanky. I'm assuming tank Mega Blastoise. And there's also to mention the fact that his Z-Mon, he did bring all 3 of his Z eligible Mons in Garchomp, Zoroark, and Shaman, if I recall correctly. So I have to be worried about that as well. I know there's no reason to worry. You couldn't bring some like Z Sandstorm Garchomp or like SD, so I didn't have to worry about that. He could potentially be like, I don't really know which of his Z-Mons are going to be. I'm assuming the way his team is set up, I'm assuming that it's going to be the Zoroark, because from my initial standpoint, I'm assuming Shaman is like an Assault Vest set, so I can take hits better from my Manaphy. It also reliably checks non-nasty plus Celebi very, very nicely. So the other thing to note is the fact that he can freely get up rocks on, he freely get up hazards on my side of the field because I have no hazard removal on this team. So I figured with that in mind, I had to lead up with my Charizard and get my Mega Evolution off quick. I didn't really care what he led off with. If he leads, it had a decent matchup against everything. If he led off with either the Blastoise or the Garchomp, I would be forced to switch. And my response to both of them, my response to Mega Blastoise is Conkeldurr, and my switch in the Garchomp would most likely be the Celebi if he goes for the Earthquake. Another thing to note is after I Mega Evolve my Charizard, his Garchomp can just spam EQ at will and lose absolutely nothing from doing so, just to gain that chip damage on Celebi to put it in range of like a Zoroark, Dark Pulse or whatnot, as Zoroark is faster than my Celebi. So with that, I'm just going to start the replay here. So I'm going to leave with my Charizard here, like I said, because he has free reign to get up his rocks. So he leads up with his Mesprit here as I go into my Charizard. I'm going to just fire off a Dragon Pulse at this point in time. He's going to switch out into his Blastoise here. So I'm going to Mega Evolve here and just go for the safe Dragon Pulse here as he didn't bring the Sylveon. It made no sense for me to go for Flamethrower at this point in time. So I go for the Dragon Pulse here, and it's going to do 45%. And then I make a little bit of a misplay here because I stayed in. I'm thinking, oh, this Dragon Pulse is going to take it out, and then I forget about the bulk. He goes for a Dragon Pulse here, and then I'm like, oh crap, I just screwed up badly. But fortunately for me, I live on 5%, so I can take out his Mega Blaster with the next hit, but I know he's going to keep us around. So I'm just going to try to finish off with the next Dragon Pulse here. So now I'm just going to decide to Roost here. The main thing that worried me is if his Mesprit was Thunder Wave, but he decided to get his Stealth Rocks up here. So I'm going to Roost one more time to see what he's going to go for, like a Psychic. He shows the U-turn here. So he's going to U-turn directly out into his Garchomp, which is a good play for him. I'm forced to switch out here, and I have to go to my Piloswine here. I didn't want to go directly to Celebi because in case he was outraged. So he goes for the Earthquake here. I know he's going to fear the Ice Shard. So I take the opportunity to get up my own Stealth Rocks at this point in time. So now I can't touch Skarmory at this point, so I'm going to go hard into T-Tar here and just try to get up a Fire Blast for damage. And he gets up his first layer of spikes, which I knew was going to be an issue. So I'm just going to go for the Fire Blast here. Does a solid 71% here. Gets up a second layer of spikes. I can't really do anything about that. He's going to switch out and go hard into Mega Blastoise to sack this thing off. Even if I miss a Fire Blast here, Blastoise died to Sandstorm damage. So that's one kill for T-Tar. Mega Blastoise was a pain in my estimation. But now we get to go out into Skarmory, which I know is Zoroark. So I'm just going to hard switch into my Conkeldurr at this point, just to scout and see what he's going to do here. He reveals the Z move, and he goes for the all-out pummeling, which does a clean 42%. So here I went for a Drain Punch, though to be honest I kind of wish I went for a knockoff here, because you see he goes into Mesprit here. I went for a knockoff, this Mesprit was dead, like just destroyed. So but I played it safe here. I can't switch out, so I have to go down to a Psychic here from the Mesprit, but it does give me a free switch to go back into my Charizard X and just click Dragon Pulse one more time. So I take out the Mesprit here, but because I did that, he gets a free switch back into Garchomp, and we're back to square one with this Garchomp. Charizard X exchange. I decide to sack off my Charizard here, so I get a free switch into my Piloswine to go for the Ice Shard here. I just want to get some damage off on this Garchomp. He makes a smart play and sacks off the Skarmory, because Skarmory already did its job. It got up 2 layers of spikes, which hinders my team immensely here. So Piloswine's going to pick off the Skarmory. He goes into the Zoroark. I know it's Zoroark because of the damage it took already. Go for the Ice Shard. He finishes me off with a Night Daze. So down goes my Piloswine. So here I'm free to click Ice Beam against his entire team. I know I outspeed. He was Z. He was the fighting MZ. I kill him with Ice Beam. But again, this forces him to go back into his Scarf Garchomp. He just clicks Earthquake, and down goes my T-Tar. I knew that was going to happen. I couldn't really do anything about it here. So here I go into my Manaphy. I take the Stealth Rock and Spikes damage. So here was my thought process in going into Manaphy. The reason why I meant Manaphy here over Celebi, if I went Celebi here, he would switch out, go into a Shaman. I'd probably go for like a Psychic or try to go up a Nasty Plot. If I get the Nasty Plot up, I don't know what his Shaman is. If he's Assault Vest, it's a lot harder to wear down, but at least for Celebi's sake, it would. Celebi would wear down Shaman to the point where it puts in a range of Manaphy's Ice Beam. I would assume I would have to be forced to use the ICM Z there, because I know Ice Beam takes out this Garchomp. And I also have to deal with Stealth Rock and 2 layers of spikes. So my thought process here was, if that situation happened, he sacks off the Shaman, he goes back into Garchomp, and he clicks Outrage, and he wins. The thought process here was, I go into my Manaphy. I have taken Earthquake. If I get crit, I lose. Because then I go into my Celebi, he switches out and goes through a Shaman, and he gets wearing down with whatever. So the thought process was, take an Earthquake from Garchomp. If he's Jolly, I live. If he's Adamant, I'm pretty sure I die. I did not do the roll. I did not do the couch for Adamant Scarf Garchomp. But if he's Jolly, I know I can take one. I definitely know it for sure. So I go for Ice Beam, take out the Garchomp. I have to, then he goes into Shaman. If he's not a Choice Scarf variant and he's max speed, I have to win the speed tie, go for a Sub-Zero Slammer, take him out, and I win 2-0. That was my thought process here. So with that in mind, I am just going to go for the Ice Beam. I don't really have any other play. He goes for the Earthquake here, and it does 52%. I knew I would take 1 as long as he didn't crit me. So Ice Beam is going to take out this Garchomp. The crit did not matter there. He goes into Shaman, and now I'm hoping and praying that I win the speed tie and take out the Shaman, but alas, I don't. I think he goes for the Air Slash there. So now I'm forced to go out into my Celebi. Click Hidden Power Fire. I don't know if HP Fire or Psychic did more in this situation. He goes for a second Air Slash. I go for HP Fire. It doesn't even come close to 2 KO. My play was probably Psychic here, as he takes me out with the final Air Slash, and that's going to be game. So I probably could have Nasty Plotted there. Hope I didn't get flinched. And then if he missed an Air Slash and I went for Psychic, it probably could have taken him out with a crit, but I don't really know the calcs. And it turns out in the end he was indeed Scarf Shaman, so winning the speed tie did not matter. If a situation came, if I was able to knock off the Shaman, but he did a very good job preserving the Shaman until now, there was a possibility I could have won, but alas. Nonetheless, this was perhaps one of the cleanest battles the cleanest league battles I've ever played, simply because of the fact that there was absolutely no hacks or any relevant hacks whatsoever. There was no miss moves, no crits that changed the impact of the game. I knew hazard stack would be an issue for me because my hazard control is not the best. And he did a very good job in anticipating that and bringing Hazard Stack sort of hyper offense with the double Scarf with Scarf Garchomp, Scarf Shaman. Skarmory definitely hindered me with the spikes and whatnot. So again, that's a good game to Ashton. One of my better losses, so to speak. I felt as though I played the game as best as I possibly could. Considering the matchup, I felt as though I had a chance to win a team matchup, but in the end, the hazards were really detrimental to my team, which is mostly on me for not having better hazard removal. But at the same time, I felt as though the game played out very, very nicely for me in the fact that I still had a chance to win. If he was not Scarf Shaman, but that's a different story. So again, good game to Ashton. I encourage you to check out Ashton's side of the battle. His link will be in the description down below. He's a very, very solid battler, a good person. And I'm fortunate for both of us that this game was as clean as it was, considering how bad his week 1 match went with the Stone Edge miss, forcing him to lose 5-0. That one play screwed him up, I know, but he rebounded very nicely. He prepared very, very well. And again, feel free check out this man. Check out this guy. He's a solid battler. He's a great person. I encourage you all to check out his channel if you can. If you did enjoy the battle here, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave a comment, all that good stuff. So we are 1-1. It's not the end of the world. We still have 5 weeks left. It does get hard from here though. Our week 3 opponent is Monotui and the Tampa Bay Lux Race. So I have my work cut out for me. So nonetheless, I will do my best to try to win, prepare as best as I can. And I hope you guys are excited as we still have the early stage of the NPL Minors to go. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to get the heck out of here. And until the next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Later.